and with me right now is the much anticipated Samsung Galaxy S4, and let me walk you through some of the device's new features. Of course, what pops up to you, or to me at least, is the new vibrant screen. It's a 5-inch screen, one of the first few phones in the whole world that has a 1080p full HD display. If you look in front, that's a 2-megapixel camera over there. Let me zoom in for you. And in the back, a 13-megapixel camera. Inside this device, 2 gigabytes of RAM, 16, 32, or 64 gigabytes of memory, and inside you can expand that up to 64 gigabytes. Now, there are 2 different processors that I know there's been a lot of talk about, an octa-core and 8-core processor. This device comes in 2 variants, one with an octa-core processor, 1.6 gigahertz octa-core processor, and another with a 1.9 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon processor. Now, if you can see, Samsung really is branding this phone as a life companion, a phone that you can go through life with, and it's focusing on 4 different areas. They call it the 4 pillars, which they base the design upon. One is fun, second is creating relationships, next is being able to do life's tasks, and then last is health and wellness. So let me just run over some of the new features of the phone with you based on those 4 different things. So interestingly enough, this device actually looks pretty much like the last Samsung Galaxy S3. But if you notice, the screen is much larger at 5 inches diagonally. They've actually reduced the bevel and made the screen larger. It does look much, much better. And while it does have the same plasticky feel, it's not as... it feels more sturdier in the hand compared to the Samsung Galaxy S3. I really, really like this aluminum bezel. I'm not really sure if this is aluminum or some kind of plastic, but I'm really digging the construction and the build of this phone, even though it's still the same plastic finish that we're used to. If you notice, TouchWiz has been revised ever so slightly. You dive into settings and it does look a little bit different. Settings are now sorted by connections, things about the device, and of course app settings are all here. This phone runs on Android version 4.2.2 Jelly Bean. Now let's take a look at some of the settings. Some of the new features of this phone really is not what's on the outside, but what's on the inside. Let's take a look at camera. Now, if you notice, a couple of weeks back on Tech Wrap, if you remember, we featured the Samsung Galaxy camera, and it's actually borrowing some design elements or some software elements from that. If you see, there's a new mode button. Let me turn this off. There you go. So there's a new mode button, and if you press that, you can actually select different features. But what you saw earlier was their new 2-cam view. It's called dual shot mode, and you can shoot videos and or photos using both your front-facing camera and the main camera at the same time. Now, this cool stamp option is one of the different overlays that you can have. Now let me just switch my camera around. So for example, you're shooting a scene. I'm in New York right now. For example, I'm in front of the Statue of Liberty and I'm shooting a scene and I want to place myself in the shot. I can actually use one of these cool overlays and shoot a picture of myself while taking the photo. Now, there are different overlays that you can choose from. This is just one of the many examples. Now, there are other features here that I can talk you through in a bit, but it would be better if I had the phone out. I'll add all of those in the accompanying article that you can read on Rappler.com. Let me move on. Now, Samsung is also hoping to feature on relationships, and they believe the world is much more global now. So they've added a couple of new features, for example, to their Chat On application. Now, you can now make 3-way video calls. You can use, again, 2 cameras at the same time. You can share your screen or even share your annotations all from the Chat On application, which is the default chat client built into Samsung smartphones. Now, another interesting feature, which is probably even more exciting, is group play. Now, I can't demo that here because I don't have anyone to play with, but basically it works using both NFC, or near field communication technology, and the built-in Wi-Fi of the device. And what you can do is play games at the same time with your friends. Right now, there are two games that you can use, Asphalt 7 from Gameloft and Gun Brothers 2. And it doesn't require any data connectivity, no wireless access point, and you can be able to play games together. You can also, using another application, listen to music together, so you can play all the same song all at the same time and hear a stereo experience. Now, this is probably one of the most exciting features. They call it Hover. And this is Flipboard, one of the third-party apps that uses the new AirView technology. Look at this Twitter app. Now, all I need to do is hover or put my finger over Twitter. That's